Hey everyone, and welcome into the Willow Street Workshop YouTube channel. Thanks so much for purchasing our chunky pumpkin tutorial. This is an awesome project for fall. These pumpkins are so cute. They're addicting to make. You can make a bunch of them, all different sizes, and we're going to show you how to do that. So you're going to unravel your yarn. You're going to put your tail end of your yarn toward the right, and our first step is to do what's called a slip knot. So you're essentially just going to place this yarn up and over, creating a cursive L, a little donut. We're going to leave a little bit of a tail for this slip knot here. So we went up and over with our yarn, and now we're going to take our tail end, feed it through the back, creating another loop and pull up. Okay, that's what's called a slip knot. So you can rewind if you have to. I'll do it one more time. So we're going to go up and over, whoop, up and over, creating a cursive L right here. And then we're going to take our yarn, come through the back, but only pulling out a little bit and pulling to tighten. Now, if you have something that looks like this, that's too big. You're going to want to tighten it by just pulling your ends, okay? So you want it to be about 2 fingers wide. Now that we have our slip knot, that's where you should have ended. We're going to flip our working yarn, our ball, over to the right-hand side. So we just have our slip knot and our tail that's attached to the big ball. So we want 10 of these loops, 10 donut holes. So we're going to repeat that process. So we're going to go up and over, creating a little cursive L right here, and feed the yarn back through the loop, creating another loop. So now we have 2 loops. We're going to go up and over, creating our donut hole, our cursive L, and then we're going to feed the yarn through the back loop, creating another loop. You're going to do this until you have 10 of the loops. So up and over, and I like to just stick my finger in there to help me pull that out. Up and over, working yarn through the back, creating another loop and pull out. 5 more. I like to use my finger to kind of help me create my loop. So your work will look something like this. You're going to take your work and create a circle with it. You can put your tail in the middle here. So all of your stitches are outward, kind of like a sunflower. It looks like a flower. So our very first step is to take we want to connect these 2. This one has the yarn attached to it. We're going to go in this loop, pick up the yarn, and pull it through, but only a little bit. We're going to hold on and go into our next stitch. We're going to go in the loop, pick up the yarn, and pull it through. We're going to go in the loop, pick up the yarn, and pull it through. In the loop, pick up the yarn, and pull it through. And you see how I'm using my hands to kind of help me with this? I'm using my hands to kind of guide my work. So I'm going to my next stitch. In the stitch, pick up the yarn and pull it through. In the stitch, pick up the yarn and pull it through. Okay, very carefully on the first row because you don't want these to go out like this. You don't want to pull these apart. If that does happen, you can either start over or just pretend you're creating a loop and feeding your yarn through. So we're going to go in the loop, pick up the yarn and pull it through. In the loop, pick up the yarn and pull it through. Last stitch here, in the loop, pick up the yarn and pull it through. Now we're going to repeat the process all the way around again. You're going to keep doing this until the pumpkin is the desired height. You don't want to pull these out too far and you don't want to not pull them out far enough. So you want to be kind of middle of the road with your loops. Because if they're too loose, your stuffing is going to fall through. And I'm just working with my hands. I'm using my hands to kind of guide me here. I'm going in the stitch, pick up the yarn, and pull it through. Now another way you can do this too is you can put it down here. So you'll find your stitch, pick up the yarn, and pull it through. In the loop, pick up the yarn and pull it through. In the loop, pick up the yarn and pull it through. All the way around. So meet me back when you have enough to start the next step. So I've got about as tall as I want my pumpkin, but I still have some yarn left. In this case, what you can do is you can create another pumpkin, but instead of starting with 10 loops, maybe start with about 5 to 7 to use up the rest of your yarn. So what we're going to do here is just take it, making a little longer tail, cut or break it, whatever works. And what you're going to do is you're going to repeat the same process, but instead of pulling out just a little bit, you're going to pull the yarn all the way through. Come around to the next stitch. We're going to go in, pick up the yarn, and go all the way through. In, pick up the yarn, all the way through. In, pick up the yarn. And I'm just going to kind of start to cinch that. Come to my last stitch here and pick up the yarn, come all the way through. Now it should look something like this. We're just going to pull until that cinches the entire bottom, okay? We're going to make a knot. And we're going to stick it into our pumpkin as a little bit of stuffing. So that is gone and out of our way. Now we're going to stuff our pumpkin up. We're going to take our stuffing and just peel it apart a little bit, fluff it up nicely, and stick it right in there. Just really filling every corner. Okay. Now we're going to take our tail. We're going to poke pretty much anywhere in here. And we're going to poke through, feed our yarn through. We're going to take our tail, feed it through. And I'm going to cinch. Take our tail, find a hole, feed it through, and cinch. Tail, find a hole, feed it through, and cinch all the way around the top of our pumpkin. We're creating a little ball. Okay? So your top might look something like this. You can try to tighten it, but be careful it doesn't break. You'll make a knot. Stick that right through. And I like to just fluff this guy up a little bit before adding the stem, which you just put in there, and a little bit of raffia.